in a place that we now call
that
England.
Little man digging.
Let's see some pictures, John.
The little man digging.
Little man digging picture.
If you can.
I think it's the next one.
There you go. So, someone that looked like that in the 17th century in some place we now call England, were also, like the people who once had Kailapulu Pond in what we now call Kailua, were self-sufficient, self-governing people. They were tossed off their land. It was taken as someone else's private property and developed. And their act of resistance, the group of people who called themselves the Diggers, was to plant food on the land of theirs that had just been stolen. And planting food had two purposes, which are basically the same purposes as us. One is, concretely, we need food. We need to eat. And for the 17th century Diggers, they were starving because they had been just tossed off their land. And they had no other way to live.
There's no safe way.
Yeah.
So they needed to eat. But secondly, they were laying claim to the land as still theirs. That they were refusing to acknowledge the new owners. Whether that was the private property owners or whether that was the new state that had just been created at that time. So we're basically doing the same thing. We're saying that we should not have to rely on a market system that gives us wages in order to eat, because that's another form of enslavement. Or we shouldn't have to rely on the state that tells us where we can grow food or not in order to keep us starving and continuing
So
to
the
work.
Diggers planted turnips,
beans, parsnips.
Yeah, what kind of root vegetables, because that's what grew well there. But we planted papayas because that's one of the
You
easiest
planted
things
it
to
on
grow.
Kamehameha property, and then they tried to. Somebody first came and they kind of said, like, "Can you guys get rid of it?"
They told us to move it. They told us that they had plans for it or something, but we didn't move it. We just wrote back a sign saying that we don't know where else to put it, that other people can easily find the papayas, so I don't know what to do, so we'll see what you're going to do. And then a few months later, they moved the fence that separated the private and the public land right over our papaya plants, and then so kind of cut them all down. And this moment was really great because since it's been there for a while and people like the signs and the crazy things that we did, we had developed like some fans.
Cool.
Who were very
Some
irritated.
grassroots support.
Yeah, they're like, why would anybody do that? It's like it's just papaya.
And that's this is another thing that we borrowed from the Diggers, because their act was, this act of planting food is seen as unthreatening, which is really interesting, right?
It's sustenance, it's life.
It's not seen as this, massive militant action.
Right.
But in the end, it is really threatening. So that's what's interesting, right? That neither the English state for the original Diggers or the Kamehameha school system could deal with people just planting food. Like, it became this really dangerous thing for them.
It's actually nourishing.
And people, I think, recognize that tension, and that's why people got angry. It's like, this is just planting papayas. Like,
For God's sake, stop it.
Yeah.
What's the big deal? So that was a turning point for the project, and people. So more people got excited about it, and in fact we replanted the papayas, and it got bigger. We planted sweet potatoes, peppers, lemongrass, lilikoi, all kinds of things there. So
along the same fence.
the same fence. It just kind of expanded because the woman who lived right next to it let us use the hose and started watering.
Oh, that's great.
Because
Great
before we
hose.
used to haul buckets, which was really very demanding.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Make
so
you
that was
lazy.
a great turning
It's like,
point.
I don't want to do this anymore.
But then we started the next thing. The Diggers, interestingly enough, other people have taken up the Diggers' work, and the most famous one is the San Francisco Diggers. So we can look at
Cool. There they
the
are.
next slide.
In the 1960s.
Oh,
So
really?
this is the free food in the park.
That's right.
This is the
The free
start-
bread.
free bread and the free store.
That's right.
Was there,
Was
right?
was their
Okay.
project.
So they started the free. They were the first people, I think, to
Free
start
clinic
the free
to
store.
medical
Right.
clinic.
Free clinics.
Right. So
Really?
they had a
Okay.
space, and
And-
then people would just like.
And when I
bring
was
stuff.
when I was a little girl growing up in Vancouver, Canada, I grew up in a working class neighborhood, relatively poor family. We didn't have a lot of money to send us off shopping, so my brother and I one day came along a free store that had opened like around the corner from where we lived. This is like in the early
random.
1970s. Like, I'm
Wow.
10 years old, and I'm looking, oh my God, I could actually walk into this store, have anything I want and walk
Wow.
out of it, and I don't need
In
money.
Canada.
And that was just the most liberating freedom that I
Wow.
had as a 10-year-old. I couldn't believe
It was
that
inside
this was,
of a building.
Yeah, it was a store. It was.
So they went every day.
So we went every day, and I remember getting a pair of go-go boots, these white, beautiful
Alright.
go-go
Right.
boots, and I
Girl.
just thought, this is the kind of world I want to live in. I want to be able to look good and for free.
Right.
We're beauties on a budget here. I got some of these. So you guys started free stores here, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Many of them.
So I told Gay this story, and she built a free store in our front yard, and that was the
so
free
great.
store.
Show
love
show
it.
the picture of the free store in our yard. So it started, and then the newspaper came and did an article on us.
Cool.
But where did you get your items from?
These things I got at the free store at the the art building, kind of by the gallery.
Yeah.
Yeah, I happened upon it too. I was like, look at all this stuff. See, look, this is for my hair, and this one too. I actually wore this in ShakaTalk #2. I wore it as a brooch.
Very nice.
Yeah. And yeah, I just came upon it. I was like, and there was all these magazines, and I'm a total zine geek. And like, I just took all this stuff, and I was like, I gotta put something back. So I took all kinds of crap out of my room, and I put it there. And I don't know if anybody wanted it. Okay, right on.
Well, we've got tons of really great things at the free store, but also a lot of people say, well, now I know where to put my things because most people hate throwing things away.
Yeah.
So here's a space that's always there. So this is the picture of the one
Thanks, John.
that we started in Kailua. At
It's in your yard?
Lake.
It was in our- yeah.
That's where we lived.
Oh,
Oh, this is a great part
Yeah.
of the free store.
What is that?
Well, the San Francisco Diggers had this concept called free money too. They would put up flyers that says that suggested everyone gave them their money and so that they could redistribute to everybody.
Well, that's
for
very
them.
kind.
Right? And so we just made the free money box, and people put in money.
Wow.
And
Oh my gosh.
And what'd you
It
do
was
with it?
We just
No,
left
nothing.
it there. People would take it. People would leave it.
Really?
No,
That's
isn't this a great
Give it-
world?
yeah.
Wow. You know,
Wow.
sometimes, somebody needs a quarter.
Yeah.
Somebody needs a dollar.
That's right.
So like with the free money box, like in the morning when I go to work, it would be, let's say, 57 cents in there. And then when I come home, there'd be like maybe 32 cents in there. Like,
Wow.
why? Why? I don't know why. Nobody
Just
knows
needed
why.
enough for bus fare.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That's cute. If
So
we
it
had,
really
like,
it demonstrated to us, as a social project that, we always hear that unless you have to, work, you're not going to appreciate the value of something. And that is, the free store has just put a lie to that because people do appreciate things that they get for free.
yeah, it
And
seems like
they-
it's
and
well
they do-
maintained.
and they do give
Yeah.
back.
Nobody works there, right?
Nobody works there.
It's just like
Takes care of
if
itself.
people, yeah, other people take care of it too. I was like surprised when I walked. I was like, I gotta find some more free stores.
Well, the thing is that when we first set it up, there were people who were concerned that there would be like these homeless people, scary people who would take everything and then come and steal things from your house too. And it's proven to them that their fears are unfounded.
Yeah.
So the joke that you made, are we terrorists? And I think that what it's shown is that the terror lives inside of us because we are scared of the unknown. And once you show it, it's like, oh, it's not scary at all. Oh,
Yeah.
I got this free thing.
Totally.
And something that Gay just said, I think, really gets to the heart of our project, which is having people reimagine their idea of community. So here we're living in Kailua. It's this kind of uptight middle class. Enchanted Lake Park is a pretty uptight middle class, quite militarized little neighborhood, right?
And then you guys
And
moved
then,
in.
but what also people realize, what the free store showed them is all the people that they actually are in a community with, that they either refused to see before or refused to acknowledge as possibly part of their community or were afraid of. And so it actually expanded people's sense of who's actually in this space.
It
and
like
it does
created a
actually,
community sort of because
well, it
then you
actually
kind of had
does
to
include
interact.
people that don't have very much money, and it includes people who are homeless. And all of a sudden, it created a space of interaction amongst people that hopefully lessened their fear, right? And allowed people to look, empathetically or compassionately to other people who are actually there.
How many free stores